There's a lot of myths and truths around Section 8. Some investors hear Section 8 and they immediately think bad tenant. That's not accurate. Section 8 isn't a tenant profile. It's a rental assistance program. You still screen the tenant, right? You still look at the rental history. You still verify whether they're a good fit or not. Now, another huge misconception is that Section 8 automatically means massive cash flows or some insane ROI. Can I manipulate the numbers and make you see crazy cash flows? Sure. But again, it's very interesting how a lot of these online gurus are showing these crazy cash numbers and making it sound like every Section 8 property just prints money, right? Not necessarily the case. You need to be very careful with that. Can Section 8 sometimes cash a little bit better? Of course, right? It doesn't mean, though, that math goes out the window. Math is still math at the end of the day. Let's say, for example, you buy like $150,000 turnkey rental property. I'm talking about a renovated rental property. I'm not talking about buying something for $70,000. That's a different deal. Okay. But if you buy like $150,000 turnkey property at 20% down, let's say today's rates are 6.75 to 7%. Let's say a normal cash paying tenant rents that property for $1,250, while a Section 8 tenant rents that property for $1,400 per month. Right. Okay. So you get an extra $150 in gross rent difference. After property taxes, insurance, management, maintenance, vacancy, financing costs, it does not suddenly turn a mediocre deal into some magical $800 to $1,000 per month in cash flowing property, right? Yes, that Section 8 property might perform a little bit better, but we're talking about incremental improvements, like not fantasy numbers you see online, right? A lot of those numbers are based on extremely low acquisition prices and costs. Like you're going out and buying the property for like 30, 50 grand, not renovated, right? And a lot of people are comparing and still, right, mindset wise, a lot of investors I talk to, and it's still like a thing that people get caught like in 10 years ago, where properties were way cheaper and your interest rates, again, right post-COVID were 3-4%. So like we have these unrealistic expectations, completely different market environment. Right? And remember, Section 8 rents are generally based, not generally, they're based on fair market rent guidelines through the HUD and local rent, reasonable standards. The housing authority compares properties to similar rentals nearby. So landlords cannot simply just charge unlimited rent for Section 8, right? There's guidelines. The real advantage to Section 8 to me is the rental stability or the owner stability, right? A portion of that rent is typically paid through the housing authority, which can help with consistency in collections. It doesn't mean your renter is going to make their side of the payment, right? But the property still has to make sense fundamentally. The tenant still needs to be screened. The property still needs to pass a Section 8 inspection, so you have that in place. And the numbers still need to work. So for us, Section 8 is simply one rental tool and strategy. It's not some like secret loophole for infinite cash flow. Okay. Now, we have two specific partners that really do focus on Section 8 management. So if you're considering Section 8 real estate, that's great. We have no problems with that. We have two management companies that actually focus on Section 8. I'm not a big proponent of a Section 8, a company that rents out to a Section 8 property and tenant that doesn't really focus, or that's not their main thing, right? I prefer if I have a client I'm working with that wants a Section 8 rental property in Memphis or St. Louis or something like that, I send them there because that property manager, specifically 90+% of what they do is Section 8. So they know how to get through the paperwork, get through the tenant screening process, get through the property inspection process for Section 8.